pressure on those of us in the old media business to do things differently. And I would say it opens up the dialogue. Of course, there's also this question of, is this stuff real? People know what they're talking about. It opens up the dialogue to millions of people rather than just a small monopoly in the news business.
I would say there are now 6 news networks now. There's CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN, Fox, and Twitter.
And Reddit.
All right.
No,
and Reddit, yes, to a certain extent.
If you think Reddit's a news
I'm just
source,
saying.
Let's just take a moment to explain. Reddit is an information sharing site that is very popular. And on Reddit, there was a lot of speculation about certain suspects who turned out not to be suspects. Some of that bouncing off media reports, some of it not.
Right. I mean, we can wonder whether the New York Post would have ever had its terribly irresponsible cover if not for Reddit. Because there was all this crowdsourcing attempt to identify.
But there was also a huge backlash on Reddit. I mean,
yes,
I could see from people who were on Reddit, and you go to these stories on Reddit for pictures, and you like.
They were saying
you like
stop
the stories,
this,
and they were saying, well, they were swearing and saying Reddit screwed up.
Yeah.
And Reddit, you can't be talking like this, and so there were rational people on Reddit on social media trying to calm down the posers.
Pull down the links to this person. Please pull down all your links to this person. It's innocent. So it was very interesting.
That's a very fascinating development because when Twitter, in particular, Facebook, Reddit, Instagram, first surged in popularity, there was a lot of, well, how can we really believe what the average folks are doing? And, we really have our trust in the mainstream media. And now it seemed like there were these voices, and they weren't the only voices. There were voices of restraint, not only restraining other people on social media, but also calling out the mainstream media for things like the New York Post cover and other mistakes that we've discussed.
I wouldn't take issue with what Joe said, but what I saw when I was looking through my Twitter on the day of the attacks was a tremendous kind of a mass of people, a critical mass of people saying, stop.
Caution.
Saying, yellow light.
I was one of those guys, and I woke up at 2 a.m. on Friday morning, checked the Yankees scoreboard thing. The one little status update on Facebook said, I think we got these guys. Right? So, all right, so I could go to the TV, but I said, let me just go on Twitter for a while. I was immersed for 3 hours. But then I went to television, okay? And that felt so slow. It was like one anchor with one guest and one picture. And on Twitter, you had dozens of perspectives, dozens of voices.
That's right. And you put it in context. It's the Greek chorus of our day. Okay, so this person from this background is saying this on this, and then here comes this picture. And so for this generation where we are moving so fast, the McDonald's generation, it becomes a tool for our ADD minds.
But is the Greek chorus, as valuable as it can be, also difficult to trust because it is so many voices and some people, I like the fact that the mainstream media being critiqued, but a lot of it's ideological.
Do you think, Howie, that everything you read on Twitter is real?
No.
Okay.
But
so I think people come to this sixth network, as you're saying, knowing that these aren't journalists. It doesn't they don't have to champion the First Amendment. They are people, real people on the ground, eyewitness reporters who are capturing. All about
instant gratification. And the other one, when you're watching TV at certain moments, feels like you're waiting for a table at a restaurant. Like, just give me something. Twitter's always giving you something. Every 30 seconds that night, you got a new report. But the most important thing that came out of that was police scanners and links to police scanners. And to listen to the police scanners, that was real-time stuff. You didn't have to wait for it.
That's where bad information comes. As a local news reporter who had a police scanner in her house, it's awful. You cannot report what you hear on police scanners.
Well, clearly what has happened here is that it is giving us the raw and unfiltered reports, sometimes right, sometimes wrong. But let's face it, mainstream media this week, sometimes right, sometimes wrong. Lauren Ashburn, Eric Wempel, Joe Concha, thanks very much for coming by this Sunday morning.